There's nothing like some good wine and some bad Bakugan. Welcome back, Baku Gamers. Alright, now these leaks are something that appeared late last night, and it happened to be when I was live streaming. And if you want to see my live reactions to these leaks, go ahead. I'm going to leave a link in the description so you can watch it. That was live with Wonton and Greg from Nerdy Friends, and Robo, Hunter Surge, and Bond showed up later into the live stream. We had a real good time. We were originally just talking about the Armored Elite set appearing on TCG Player, but it ended up being just this leak extravaganza, and these are the leaks that were shown off on that. And so if you want my raw initial opinions, go ahead and check that out. But sorry, if you're late and you're watching this now, you're gonna see my educated opinions. So no stupid mistakes this time, unless let's get right into it. Thanks to Brawler Cafe for putting these up on the Twitter. Don't forget to follow the Brawler Cafe Twitter. These were also shown off on the Brawler HQ Twitter, and they were first shown off in the Brawler Cafe Discord, as far as I'm aware, by Jordy. So thank you, Jordy. Thank you, Brawler Cafe. Thank you, Brawler HQ. Anyone who was involved, thank you for getting this information out to the public. And now it is my turn to contribute, and we're first going to talk about the Bakugan that come in the first starter set of 3, and we've already discussed Hydorous Ultra, so we're just going to glide past that until we see its Evo. Yes, spoiler alert, there's an Evo. Cindius and Scorpiros fusion. It's a shield and helix. 304. Okay. 2-cost fusion. It has to have a significant buff for that to be worth anything. And the more interesting Bakugan to the immediate right of that, Nilius and Enoch, Shield and Fire Fist, 502. Now, it is not the stats that are necessarily eye-catching when it comes to Nilius and Enoch, but for the fact that it is 2 Darkus Bakugan within 1 fusion. What could that mean for the future of this game? Could that be an additional Darkus for Rite of Darkus? More than likely not, because why would it have two Darkus factions, right? I don't think it would count like that. So the one reason that having a double Darkus would be advantageous is not in fact the case. Also, we have Darkus Shadow, so the classic case of this old card could be good again if we didn't have these new cards. Since a lot of these are rehashes of stuff we've already seen, I'm only going to talk about the new cards that came out / the good ones. So with that in mind, feel free to look these up on their original sources if you want to see the contents, the full contents of each of the starter sets, but I'm only going to go over the new stuff, the stuff we don't know about, the stuff we care about, right? Well, I'll be damned. It actually does have 2 Darkus symbols. We might actually, but it says for each Darkus Bakugan on your team, not each Darkus faction represented. So that'll be worthwhile to get some insight from Gary about that. But I mean, it's also for a strategy that is not necessarily going to be utilized, especially with a Bakugan with lackluster stats and a fusion that requires 4 energy for 907. So it's a non-factor, but it'll be great to have at least a precedent to how this will be interpreted in the future, because there are multiple effects that say for each blank Bakugan on a team. So if we do get a Bakugan worth a damn that makes something worth looking at, that would be a good insight for the future. Now, Cindius and Scorpiros, by the way, looks amazing. It looks really cool. Shield and Helix, 707. Doesn't even hit Hydorous numbers. Snore. Stinging Web Snare, 2 cost, plus 200 and plus 6. No. Now we have the Diamond Evo for the Nilius and Enoch Fusion, 1208 for just 1 more cost than the Fusion itself. Ew. Meteor Storm, really, 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 really cool art. I love this art so much. It is a shame that it's not worth 3 cost for 4 damage and 1 draw. It's unfortunate, but I love that art. Ah, yes, T-Mom is finally revealed as his name, Malhelm. And we already knew the effect, so we're going to gloss over that as well. I just wanted to bring attention to the fact that we know his name now. Reality Ripper, and it's got a Polion Kloptor in there, Darkus. 5 cost, 10 damage. Choose a player to discard a card for each fusion Bakugan on your team. So at most 3, and if the Nilius Enoch fusion does do what it does, not only is Darkus Shadow better, but now Ritual of Darkus. So, oops. Or Rite of Darkus, sorry. Darkus Pyrus Pulverizer, 5 cost. Definitely a catchy name. Rolls off the tongue, that one. It is a rapid fire card. Plus 5 damage, then return this card to your hand. I would really like this if this was one of the starter cards. If this elicited a combo nearly every turn by constantly returning this back to your hand, the Fury aspect would be gone, but I think we accepted the fact it was alluring because rapid fire would empty your hand out so quickly, but Fury has just kind of dropped off in its viability with new support coming out. It makes me sad, but it's true. You need to have cards in your hand, and especially in a strategy with rapid fire, since you do deplete so quickly, it's very advantageous to grab a bunch of cards back to your hand. But if this was one of the 1 or 2 costs at most that enables your higher cards, this would be a really good card and just what rapid fire would need to be viable. It wouldn't be only that would make it viable, but imagine being able to summon your milly-nilly every single turn without having to worry about drawing into another one of your starter cards, since that does return itself back to your hand during the end phase of which you used it with its rapid fire ability. Granted, you'd be using your only rapid fire combo during that turn for your milly-nilly unless you have Skater Boy out, but that's kind of the loops that we have to just go through in order to make rapid fire viable. So this is just another case of that, and I wish this was a starter card because then it would be really solid for the archetype. There's also one other thing I want to note about Darkus Pyrus Pulverizer is the fact that it is a 5 cost that keeps adding back to your hand, so if rapid fire / sync strategies become a thing in the future, you will always have an enabler for sync in your hand if you go off on your rapid fire strategies. Just wanted to point that out there too. We've already gone over the top 2 cards in a previous video, so we don't need to discuss those, but the bottom 2 cards in this picture are also in the next screenshot that I'm going to share with you guys, but these are just better taken pictures with, and it's not as grainy as it is in the next screenshot. So I wanted to go over these 2 cards with you, especially the one on the right, because it could have some very dangerous implications, not only for the Aurelus faction, but for the game in its entirety and in certain combo decks that want to see all of their cards as soon as possible, and it is another He Who Baku Treasure moment. So with that cliffhanger in mind, we're going to go over Titan Hydorous Ultra. 4 cost, 1200, 6 damage. If an opposing player has reduced damage with armor rating this turn, you may play it for free. Very interesting mechanic, and I say interesting as in I have no coherent thoughts about it at the time because we have yet to see how armor rating is just going to have an effect on the game. So far from what we've seen, it's just coincidental because it's only going to be rapid fire from what I've seen, because you're going to include those B-Power gears that come with the armor rating just by chance. And okay, cool, I have an Aurelus Bakugan that only has a decent matchup against rapid fire cards that come in, like, I don't know, I think 6 cards total are going to have that armor rating, if that. So you're mainly going to be paying 4 for this. As of now, we have yet to see armor rating come into effect in this game, so keep that in mind. Now, Pyrostorm is the card that's setting the community ablaze right now. So let's read it off, and then we'll talk about the implications about it right afterwards. It is a 2 cost, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. You may put up to 1 action, Baku Gear, Evo, and hero card revealed this way to your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Now, this says and. Notice that. So if you reveal one of each, which granted is not going to be extremely likely, but if your deck is somewhat balanced in all 4 of these, or at least 3 of these, you are going to get draw 3 for 2, which is a plus, what is it? It's technically a plus 0, but if you get the 4, it's a plus 1, easy. Like, and especially decks that want to thin out their deck as much as possible, because you are putting the cards that you reveal to the bottom of the deck, and you're going to fish out what you want because you have your choice of action, hero, gear, evo, whatever. So if you're looking for something, if it's on the top 4 deck cards of your deck, you're going to grab it. And that is very, very, very good in cards that already have to deal with Aurelus cards, like Aurelus Trox. This could be the boost in consistency that finally makes Aurelus Trox viable and dangerous, because remember, Trox either kills on turn 3 or it dies, because its consistency has always been the end of it. And it usually could not grab the 3 cards it needs to OTK by turn 3. But now, because you're going to be able to fish for the Evo, actions, heroes, whatever, Baku Gear, Tempest Generator, whatever, it made the deck insanely more consistent. It is a draw 4 for 2. That's ridiculous. Also, Aurelus Nihilus Ultra strategies coming out with the Baku Gear that you can use with that, and the Evo itself, and the hero cards you use with that, mainly Shun, and any action card you can think of. Pyrostorm has the potential to be very, 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 very good in the future, but the fact of the matter is, not a lot of decks can fit Aurelus into their strategies right now, because think about it. Sync, Darkus, Aquos, already booked. You can't move that. You can't change that. And now you have your options of Pyrus, which the advantages of that comes in the form of Super Fuel, being able to Darkest Shadow turn 2, or the Might and Mac damage win combos, with Dark Rage being the 5-cost enabler for the sync strategies, or Ventus, which comes with the innate synergy with the sync strategies with Tuskguard, Maximus, Dragonoid, and the Nature's Power just giving you insane early turn advantage on top of your sync strategies. So it's going to be hard to justify putting Aurelus instead of Ventus or Pyrus in a sync strategy, which is going to be the main strategy coming out of Fusion Force, and more than likely leaking into Shields of Vestroia, unless some bans or limits are taken to the sync strategies. So unless Aurelus becomes more of this, to where it's all about searching your other factions cards instead of just, you know, Aurelus being Aurelus, that's what it looks like it's becoming. Is, look, we don't have much cards, but we're going to help you get into the other factions that you need as quickly as possible, especially with some of the Evos that Aurelus has that are sort of irrelevant, like Titan Pharaoh that lets you search a dual faction card. So, bro, it's, if Aurelus continues this pattern, it might be justifiable in future strategies, but as of now, because He Who Sync, it just is, as broken as this card is, it's gonna have a hard time finding its place outside of Aurelus Trox. So that's Pyrostorm. Okay, with Pyrostorm taking like pretty much all of our runtime, we're gonna run through the rest of the cards really quickly. Burning Cloud is our 4-cost Baku Flip, the stop non-fusion plus an additional effect. I'm not sure if we went over this already, but make a Pyrus attack for 2. No. Then we have Flames of Ambition, 3 cost, 3 damage, but 3 more damage for each Fusion Bakugan on your team. Can get up to 12 damage, but for 3, kind of cringe, not gonna lie. Titan Hydorous Ultra, we already went over that. Volatile Instincts, we already went over that. Nuclear Pummel, we already went over that. So this whole page we already went over, so skip. Alright, that's our first starter deck of 3. I'm going to actually separate these in separate videos, just so I'm not going to have this 30-minute long video, and Pyrostorm already took a huge amount of time to go over, just because it is that huge of a card, and I wanted to give it the the time that it deserves, because it can have devastating effects on the game. Not devastating, but it'll definitely be seen if Aurelus keeps it up with the good support. It's so funny that Shields of Vestroia is showing more and more similarities to Age of Aurelus every single freaking day. Lackluster cards, probably like 5 Aurelus action cards going to be seen in it. This is one of them. And lackluster Bakugan. Well, I guess we had Hydorous, so I don't know. It's so funny, the similarities between the two set 3s of year 1 and year 2. So seriously, watch the live stream. It's a lot of fun. We're going to start live streaming weekly, so keep your eyes on that. I'll try to give head notice at least a day in advance, or at least at the beginning of the day. Right now, the work schedule I have is kind of inconsistent, but once I start school, I will always have a certain day of the week off. So be on the lookout for that. We will be doing weekly streams in the near future. Well, pretty much starting this week and now next week. So if you like the content, if you like what I do, please don't forget to like. Helps me in the algorithm. Come on, guys. Hell yeah. And subscribe. Do all that. And I'll literally see you in a few hours, maybe. I doubt I'll be able to stretch this thing out for 3 days. I don't want to. I want to get this information as fast as possible, especially since Haru beat me. Technically, I reviewed it first on my live stream, so. Oh, and plus, if you don't think my live streams are worth watching, it just so happens to be that every single time I live stream, there's big news like this immediately as soon as I click start stream that just leaks out of nowhere. This has happened twice in a row now, so if you want to be the first to see it, it's just coincidence, I swear, but... Or is it? I am a bakumaster after all. Bless up. Church of Fury gang, rise up, bless up. You guys have a great day. I'm leaving. See ya.